Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I have a great rack. I can see I've got several bingos, including approve, which is good because the blank duplicates a letter on my rack and therefore provides fewer floaters for my opponent. There may be slightly better bingos, but this will maximize the score because it's placing the highest tile on the double letter square. Approve for 80. Quite good. There may be some 8-letter bingos here. I can't see a 7. But I've got some good scoring tiles and a good vowel consonant balance. So I should have a number of options. I've got the gyro prefix and the hypo prefix through one of the P's. I've also got over. But I'm not seeing any bingos. I'd quite like to play off the G and the Y. Now, what's my opponent provided? Just the K and the U. Well, those don't help me, except that my Y can go next to the K, so I can play hooky. Hooey, rather. It doesn't play the G, but 39 points is a good score. Great, I draw the second blank. And I'm fairly sure there's going to be a bingo here. Slightly light on vowels, but there's the E of approve, so I've got bewaring in column 13, and hopefully my opponent will be distracted by the H opening in the top row. Approve takes D, R and S, so any bingo, any 7-letter bingo would play in column 14. Just thinking about the blank being an I. Great, only 39 points for my opponent. Bewaring stays available. And this should score quite well because both the B and the W are doubled. Bewaring 90. Pretty awful rack. Through an A I would have, or do have, trank, and there are 2 A's available in bewaring and approve. Neither's going to score very much, but it pretty much sorts the rack out. It sorts out both duplicates and gets rid of the Q. The U next to a triple letter square isn't helpful given Hooey is blocking anything going after the U. I would also have cat where my opponent has played, so I can forget about that. And I've got the N, so I could play chin, which would get doubled, but it's not sorting out the duplicates, and my priority is the duplicates, so I think this is the easiest way of resolving that. And the rack leaves okay, 16 points. Quite good. And there may be a bingo probably through a vowel. I think through an I there would be trimeric. There is an I in Ritz. I'm not totally sure about that, but I think I'll try it. Now, do I have anything through the O of Hooey? Ah, well, I've also got trimeric through bewaring. So I think I will be trying that if I can't see an alternative that I'm sure of. Not sure about morticer, but in any event, it doesn't go. Trimeric in column 5 will be a double-double. So do I have any other bingos? I don't think so. I think there would only be one through a vowel, and I've considered all of them. Well, my opponent blocks my higher scoring spot, but I've still got trimeric in row L, and I've also got it now in row C. Probably not very much between the placements. I think they would. I think this will. Well, this does score slightly more because through this eye, the eye is a blank, so this is a higher scoring spot. Let's see if this stays on. Trimeric 78. If it does, I've got a pretty good rack. There may well be another bingo here. If I haven't got a bingo, I'm going to struggle to score because I've got all 1-pointers. I'm looking at the G of Bewaring, which looks quite good with this rack. So I've got the ING ending. Well, I can't see a play. I can't see anything beginning with the F. Nothing through the Q. What about the W? Can't see anything. What about the C? Again, that looks promising. But nothing is coming to mind. I've got 2 pairs of duplicates, which reduces the number of bingos. Or the likely number of bingos, rather. Now, what about the P? No, well, this is disappointing because it looks like there could be something here. And I'm not seeing it. 15 minutes on my clock, so I'm doing okay time-wise. Now, I ought to be able to leave a pretty good rack leave. If I played off AN or ANA, I would have a strong leave. What I'm going to struggle to do is score. So I need to look at the high tiles on the board, like the Z and the Q, to see if I can take advantage of them. Well, I can't see anything through those 2. Now, do I have a bingo beginning ZA? No, I think I might have analyze through an L. Well, I need to stop looking for a bingo. Where can I play an N and an A to get effect? Gosh, I'm struggling to see anything here, which is always annoying. Now, what about a play placing my N here? N-A-R. Well, N-A-R-A, not good. Can't see anything through the Q apart from chin, and that keeps double A. I don't want to do that. I don't want to play off my E, otherwise I could make KYE. Well, score-wise, though, this might be worth doing. Still a whole load of E's to come. 22 points, not bad. Yeah, I think I'll go with this, because I'm retaining IN for going in front of G. So this is quite a good rack leave. And I have Fustian, Faunist, Enforced, and one other. Bewaring doesn't take an S, nor does Isotinic. So none of these may go. Where are the 7-letter lanes? Now, I've just seen this L of larval. Did I fail to consider that last go? Well, I did. Fortunately for me, I mentioned analyze, and that wouldn't have fitted. Gosh, this is annoying, having picked up a bingo out of the bag. I was confident about being able to play it, but I'm not seeing anywhere for it. And my opponent's provided nowhere. So do I have an ing word? Do I have an 8 somewhere? No, can't see anything through the G. Now I ought to try and recall this fourth anagram because it may have a hook which plays. So fustian, faunist, enforced, well, and something else. There's flutiners through an L. This L's in the wrong spot for that. Does fluiners have an anagram? I've got the full ending. Now if I can't find a bingo, I've got the U for going under the Q, so I can play quaint. I can't see a way of playing the F as well through the Q. Ah, Fritz is good. Fantastic. I have fustian down here. Well, I would have been aghast if I'd missed that, and I nearly did. Fustian 101. And I draw the X. Through IN I would have gloxinias. Can't see any other possible bingos. And I can't see anywhere where my opponent could create IN for gloxinias because this N's in the wrong place. Now I do have the X for score. I can't see a way of playing it twice in front of this U. Great, my opponent challenges, he loses 5 points. Always fun. I do have XI and XI down here for over 30. Nice bingo by my opponent, 78 points for him. I'm still 140 ahead. I've got Maxi in column 8. Keeping slog, 16 tiles to come. 39 points for Maxi. 36 for Zai. The A is quite a useful tile, and there's only one left, which counts in favour of Zai. Now, am I missing something better for my X? Fustian does take an X, so maybe there's a play across here which gets doubled and places the X on this triple letter square. Something like mastics, but I'm quite a way away from that. Well, I can't see anything. 11 minutes on the clock. Still one U to come. I'm thinking of Q plays. Now, what about playing just the X? 25 points. Well, Maxi's better than that. Well, I'm torn between Maxi and Zai. Let me consider the vowel situation. 7 E's. 14 vowels out of 23 tiles. It's quite vowel heavy, therefore I'll keep the drier rack. Maxi 39. Ooh, not good at all. I don't draw any vowels. And this looks quite a tricky rack to deal with. Now, can I place my H underneath the D? So I'm looking for a DHOI word. Well, I don't think there are any. So how to sort this rack out? I can't see anything in row N, placing my H on the triple letter square and my S underneath fustian. I would have galoche through an A, just in terms of getting rid of a lot of tiles. This is a troublesome rack because there are likely to be few candidate moves. Maybe Maxi was in an error. Certainly the A would have given me a lot more flexibility. And the A could have gone in front of G. But maybe my opponent has played that because he has got an A. I'm looking in row D to see if I can block that possibility. So my H can go underneath ET. Can't see a way of doing that. I think I'm just going to have to wait and see, or leave that spot available. I could play hero in column 4 for 26 points, but the rack leaves awful. I'm really looking to play off 3 consonants and probably hang on to my O, but that's not essential, given how many vowels there are to come. Now, what about placing my O next to the X? Have I got to play down through this U? No, I don't. Well, this is a really tricky rack to deal with. Fortunately, I've got a strong lead. I could play hill, 16 points, but that's keeping 2 Gs. So I really do want to play off a G and an L. So I could play flog. £10 points, which is rubbish. So what can I do that's better? I note approve is still available for hooks. So I could place my S there. Flog for 10, that's just a dreadful score. There absolutely must be something better than that. It does, however, sort the rack out and it takes out a bingo lane, but not a particularly dangerous one, and not one I need to take out. Well, it's a troublesome rack, and I think I've spent long enough on it, so I think I'm just going to have to accept that I am making a suboptimal move and move on. Great, I draw a couple of E's, and I have no duplicates in the consonants. One N to come, and I mention that because I've got the G and there's an I in Maxi. Great, my opponent is clearly struggling with vowels. He only gets 10 as well. And he doesn't use the A hook for G. Can't see a bingo through the I. 7 minutes on my clock. Can't see a way of playing the Q. What about this row N hotspot, using my S to pluralise fustian? Can't see anything. My E, one of my E's can go in front of X. So I could play Pule. Not a great score. 19, but I'm not sure there are particularly great scores available on this board. I could also play Huel in this spot. Can't see a way of getting down to the I, and it's certainly not worth keeping the I open just for an ing word. And by playing Pule, this is quite a hot spot for my H. Looking at the remaining tiles, the Y could go there, so YE would be a good score. But if my opponent does that, he's opening up row O, and And if he doesn't go there, well, I can. 2 tiles in the bag, so I probably ought to have tried to have played off 1 more tile last go. I draw the Y, so this spot in terms of scoring well is only available for me. Now my opponent may well have the A and the U, which could give him a Q play and an add G play. But he's not going to catch me. Through an N I would have hygienes. Ah, nice play by my opponent. He's stopped me using that hook, so that's quite a clever move by him. One tile in the bag. My Y could go in front of the U, so I could play Y. 30 points, it's a good score. And it's keeping quite a balanced rack leave. I suspect I could do better. Just looking in column 4 to see if I've got a play down here. Running slightly parallel to isotonic, can't see such a play. Well, there may be better plays, but this play is still quite good, I think. I've got side, nowhere to play it. My opponent does have the A and the U. Just wondering if I've got to play through the I of Maxi. Don't think so. Can't see anywhere for side. So I don't think I'm going to be able to go out in 1 unless I've got to play through the L. Can't see such a play. Or through both A's, can't see anything. I've got an I for going after the Q. Well, that's been taken out. 57 points for my opponent, a good score by him. But he's burnt the A, so he's not going to make a G. He's got double EU left. I don't think he can... Well, I haven't really looked, but he may struggle to go out with that. He's got Uja, so I should probably play down here to block that. And does he have a second out? Double EU. I don't think he does. We'll find out soon enough, but in the meantime I need to block this G, so I can do that with Psi. I'm keeping, that scores 16 points, not a particularly great score. I'm keeping Ged. So I've got Ged and Gur. Do I have a second spot? Ah, my opponent has blocked approved. Well, I've got Geld, but that may also be blocked. I've got Geared, I think. So do I have a second spot that I'm sure can't be blocked? G doesn't quite work, nor does Edge. Pule takes the D. Well, I think I will play this. I'm comfortably ahead, so I don't have to eke out the final points. Now, having said that, I wonder if there was a play pluralizing kneecap through this N. Well, too late for that now. So I've got Ged, Geld, and I haven't seen anything else. Can't see anything through this A. So I've blocked Uja. I don't think my opponent can now go out. Emu is good, but that doesn't play. So what if my opponent does block both my outs, which would be pretty remiss of me, not having found an alternative. Well, I could play Ed and HE. My opponent's got 11 minutes left, so he's certainly got time to see what I've got and block it. Deg is also good, but I can't see many places on this board for three-letter plays. Great, my opponent doesn't block Ged up here. $13 points. Just wait for my opponent to formally end the game, which he does. And the final score, 398 to my opponent, 555 to me. A winning margin of 157 points, so a massive, massive win. Let's see what I missed. It was me to go first. I had a great start, a whole bunch of bingos, and approve was one of them. Not such a good rack for my opponent. He plays Kudo. This was my rack. I played Hui for 39. That looks fine. My opponent's rack's still awful. He plays Half. And wow, look at that. Bewaring was the only bingo. I'm surprised, but still pleased to have spotted it. My opponent's rack. He plays Ritz. Wow, what a horror show. I'd forgotten quite how awful this rack was. I played Trank, and I think that's fine. Nice rack for my opponent. He plays Isotinic. And I'm able to come back with Trimeric, which was the only playable bingo. My opponent's rack, he plays Larval. And this is where I didn't consider the L, but thought Analyze was good. Was there a bingo? No, there wasn't. Great. Well, I'm glad I didn't spend longer looking for one. I think this is where I played NAE for 22. And comparing these scores and rack leaves, that looks fine. My opponent's rack, he plays Id. And now I have Fjorns. That was the fourth anagram, which eluded me. I played Fustian for 101. My opponent's rack, pretty good rack. He's got Tediums. Now, this was my rack. I played Maxi for 39. And probably very little between these plays. My opponent did have the A when he played JE. So nice play by him. And I was faced with this horror show. But at this point I was 150 ahead, so that didn't matter. Glog, what a great word. Where does that play? Ah, through this G. Yep. That's really nice. I didn't consider that. Quite a few of these higher scoring plays have dreadful rack leaves. However, Flog is awful. But you can see how off-putting these rack leaves were. The only good rack leaves are from Glog or Glogs, and I just didn't see that word. Now, my opponent has got different problems. He's got all vowels, but notably he's got the A and the U, which is good. Good for him. He plays Roo, and this is my rack. Wow, Shekel. That would have been fabulous to play. I didn't see that. Shekel. Just didn't even think about that. What did I do? Pule for 19. Okay, well, I think I didn't have my Scrabble head on at the end of this game. Shekel would certainly have been great fun to have played. My opponent plays Exo. This is my rack. Shy playable, making Kais and Y. That's quite nice for 35. I played Year for 30, which I think is fine. Except Shy plays off 3 tiles, Yer plays off 2, so probably better to play off the 3. Having said that, the S is quite useful. My opponent plays Niqab. Head, making yeah, that would have been quite nice for 36 points. Instead I play Sai for 16 to block my opponent's out. Did he have one? No, so actually Sai, or playing around this G, was better than anything anywhere else on the board. My opponent plays double E, and then these were the outs I had. I Ged at A4, which is what I played for 13, but there was one through the A, Egad, which I didn't see. And then the only other bit outs were through this L. So that was the end of that. Pretty exciting game. Always good to score over 500 points, and this was well over 500 and a big spread. So I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.